So TNA officials continue to claim that Vince Russo is not involved in the creative process, but simply works as an on-air character. The company claims that Russo has not been involved in booking matters since the company went on a 3-week hiatus in September. Now, if you remember, the last note we had on the November episode was a note from Jerry Jarrett in his book about how a lot of the content on the first episode of TNA in December, the December 4th episode, was particularly influenced by Jeff Jarrett and Vince Russo. So we know from Jerry's book that this is all just a bull-faced lie, and it's been a lie the entire time since before the company existed, and they're still doing this dance. And it's like, oh, he doesn't work for us. Well, he does work for us, but he's only on air, but he doesn't have any creative capacity. But here we are again in December with them denying it again.
Well, it's like what we said on the last episode, and also talking about the stuff which got them kicked off Spike. If this guy is someone you have to lie to everyone about being in creative control, then there's probably a sign there that this guy shouldn't be involved in the creative.
Yeah, and the follow-up note, it's like nobody in the company knows what to believe since the Jarretts willingly deceived them for the sake of a storyline when Russo returned as Mr. Wrestling 3. So they may still be deceiving people in order to avoid the baggage that Russo brings with them. There are several wrestlers and personalities who refuse to participate in anything that Russo has creative influence over. And there is another note in the PW Torch later that month about how the wrestlers just don't trust management anymore because they keep on lying to them about Vince Russo.
Which I feel like is a commonality that we're going to see throughout the entire history of this company until the more recent iterations, you know what I mean? Where it feels a lot like there was just never an environment of trust backstage. It's something that we can see at this point. It's something that we'll see over the next year, and it's something that we'll even see in that we're seeing in the 2010 shows that we're watching on Patreon.
And it's, I think, by design in some element, because it's like, oh, we can work the boys, we can do these worked shoots, it's such great content, and
It's so nothing, though. There's no point to working the boys.
No, there never is. It never goes anywhere other than making people feel unhappy and, unsafe at work, really.
And especially in a business that's so thoroughly based around trust, and trusting the people in the back with your body, with your livelihood. It feels so counterintuitive to the whole ethos of what wrestling should be.
There's another fun note. The TNA auction lists this for sale a day working with Vince Russo on production. Despite the fact, of course, that they're saying he is only an on-air character.
Coming soon to the You Got to Be Kidding Me auction. Working with Garrett in production, where you get to edit the show for us.
Yeah, I'll sit here while you do all the work of editing our 2 hours into a tight, pithy 1 hour 40.
If you pick the right week, you can also do the watch along with us.
Yeah, you can sit down and watch the January 22nd episode, which is the watch along we'll do for next month, or the December 18th episode, which is the one we did the watch along for on this week, which you can find at tnhad.com.
Well, you can't be with us on that one, but in spirit you can. You can talk along with us, I suppose. I guess that's the whole thing you can do.
Listen, I paid for tnhad.com. I'm now going to start using it for the Patreon plugs forever.
Of course.
Because Chad did make a return on these shows.
I am not convinced it's the same Chad.
It's 100% the same Chad. He just has facial hair.
This is an Ultimate Warrior scenario. The original TNA Chad died and was replaced.
He did go missing for the bones of 2 months.
I'm saying he started talking to that girl. I'm saying they ran off and they realized, we can't have a bloody NWA-TNA pay-per-view without TNA Chad in the fucking thing, so we have to go send out Proto Chad over here.
It's just Chad. It's evil Chad because he has facial hair. That's the way the world works, isn't it?
Dun, dun, dun.
It's Chad's evil twin.
I don't know. I don't know if Chad was a lawful good force
That's true.
in the world already, so...
Wait, what if this is good Chad then?
This might be good Chad.
So TNA workers are hoping Jeff Jarrett is able to talk Sting into working some TNA dates, because one of these shows opened with Jarrett going on his WWA tour. You were surprised. There's some brief highlights of Sting wrestling on those WWA shows on one of these shows, isn't there?
Yeah, I was thoroughly confused, and then extremely excited to note that this is Sting's first TNA appearance in history.
Yes, in B-roll in passing, Sting technically made his debut this month too.
See, I have zero knowledge of what Sting did between the closure of WCW and showing up in TNA.
Well, now you know he did some World Wrestling All-Stars shows where he wrestled Jeff Jarrett.
Wow. I'm going to go track him down.
So yeah, they're hopeful they can get Sting at some stage, a story we will continue to monitor into 2003.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Oh, don't you?
Nah, I don't think Sting's ever going to show up.
Ever.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna put some money down on that one.
In a Jeff Jarrett radio interview, he defended lying about Russo's involvement in the company to everybody because wrestling needs more realism in its storylines.
Does it?
This is always my problem with the work shoot stuff, because you're basically admitting that you are so bad and so terrible at telling like coherent stories that you basically have to fake real stuff to get by. Like, you can't get people to invest in your product by telling like a good emotional story, a work of fiction, that you have to desperately cling to like the real stuff that's happening in the world to get any drama in your show.
But also, like, there's a difference between, hey, we're gonna hide Russo out back so he comes out and it's a big surprise and no one knows about it, and hey, he's also gonna book the show while he's doing it.
Yeah. And we're going to tell you he's not booking the show as well.
Yeah, like, I have no problem with hiding someone to do a surprise. That's wrestling. Like, AEW just did it with fucking Danielson. Like, you think I care about, like, that's fine. But, like, the idea of also lying about someone's involvement with the company at the same time is just kind of gross.
It's like, yeah, Bryan Danielson's here, but he's also being booked by Vince McMahon still, but we're not going to tell you.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, Danielson's here and it's a big surprise, woohoo, but he's also booking Elevation.
Which, to be fair, I don't think you'd want to hide, because I think people would be interested in Danielson booking Elevation.
Well, it wasn't like he like heavily instrumental in SmackDown's booking over the last year or whatever?
I think heavily instrumental is probably putting it a little too generously. I think he was involved in some way in SmackDown.
He was in the
booking.
meetings.
Yeah, so...
That's cool. I'm pretty sure Danielson not working in the NWA-TNA though.
No, he never did. Despite, as we mentioned, there were those little rumblings that, they're looking at bringing in American Dragon for the X Division, but it never happened.
Alternative reality, huh? Where like their guy was Danielson instead of AJ.
Well, AJ was always going to be the guy. It's too late.
Hey, he got that contract day one.
Yeah, but it could have been AJ Danielson again instead of AJ Joe, I guess.
But Joe I don't even know what year Joe comes in, to be honest.
Well, you're going to be waiting a while.
Aww.
Back to that Jarrett interview, he compared the Russo surprise to Austin versus McMahon and when Hall and Nash invaded WCW. He said he loved Tenay's reaction to Russo's return. He said Tenay really dislikes Russo and called it great realism.
It's not great realism, it's real.
Yeah, he does actually dislike the man.
Oh shit, it's Vince Russo.